Alright, GDQ, what's up? My name is Nestani, and today we're going to be running Scooby-Doo out of 100 Frights. Specifically, we're going to be running the any percent no CE category. Any percent meaning that we're going to be beating the game in the quickest way possible, and no CE just being a category restriction, as we have a category split in this category. Specifically, it's called CE, or Creepy Early, and this split is, this trick is exclusively to the Xbox version of the game, which we have basically split the boards for due to accessibility purposes, since it's much easier to run on GameCube, and there's just more copies of the GameCube version of the game than there's Xbox, and it's the most popular one, so we basically just split the boards for that. But the only thing that you really need to know before we hop in is that we're going to be skipping about 75% of the game, and it's going to go by really quickly, as you can tell from the shorter estimate. So we're going to really be condensing this about 8-hour game down to about 20 minutes. So that'll be fun. And we'll just show you how we do that as soon as we get into this. So timer's going to start as soon as I hit a new game. So let's begin. Alright, so Scooby-Doo Out of 100 Frights is a 2.5D/3D action platforming Metroidvania, meaning that there are a ton of upgrades throughout the game, which we are going to be collecting. And we're going to be, and normally you're intended to collect all these upgrades in order to access new areas of the game, in order to beat bosses, etc., etc. But what we're going to do is that we're actually going to only be collecting 4 of these 11 inventions, or upgrades, as I'll be referring to them. We're only be collecting 4 of these, because we only need 4 of them in order to get to Mastermind and beat him. And we'll show why we only need 4 upgrades as we get on into it. But first I want to discuss what we're doing here in this room. So this room is... we colloquially call it playground because it's literally a playground. And what we're collecting here are these things called Scooby Snacks. It's making this little chop it sound, this sound here, as we run into them. And basically, we need these to pay unavoidable snack gates throughout the game. So our basic pathing throughout this game will not necessarily be to get through the fastest way possible, but it is to collect the most snacks while getting to where we want to go as fast as possible, because this first one's 25 snack gate, but we're actually going to, these snack gates scale all the way up to 850, so we have to collect a ton of snacks in order to pay these things, because we're going to be skipping a lot of the snack gates throughout the game, but the ones that we do have to pay, we have to pay, you know what I mean? So right here, we're just going to get this key, and we're going to talk to Holly, and she's actually going to give us the map. This map will come into play later on in the run when we set up for a trick known as pause storage, which will basically just allow us to work from anywhere, but we'll discuss that at a later point, because right now Don Knotts has spawned in, or the groundskeeper. He's the voice actor of the groundskeeper, and he gives us the shovel, which allows us to dig, and I'm not sure why Scooby needs a shovel to dig. Don't ask me. He's a dog. You think he would be able to do that, but... what we're going for now is that we're actually going straight to the Springs upgrade. And basically how we route this is that we want to get all the upgrades that we need in the fastest way possible. And then once we get all of these upgrades, we can then defeat Mastermind. So again, we're collecting 4 of them. We actually already collected 1, the shovel upgrade, because we just need the shovel in order to get into Shock 1. It's just kind of like a thing that happens. But luckily, it's not too bad. We go talk to Holly. She spawns in the groundskeeper. We get the shovel. And we're basically just going to make our way on up. And you see these rats moving. Anything that moves in this game is on a set cycle. So we're going to be moving throughout every level in this game. And basically our intended pathing will be to maximize the amount of snacks that we're collecting in each level, while minimizing the amount of time that we're spending in each level. Obviously, it's speedrun. We don't want to spend a lot of time in levels. But that is why we're going kind of out of our way sometimes in order to collect snacks. But trust me, these are the fastest snacks possible and that we're going to be collecting in the game. And it's going to cut out our time down. And another thing about snacks is because we have to collect so many of them, if we miss certain snacks, it's actually going to cost us time later on. And a big thing about this game is that snacks are time in this run, and if you have a really good snack count, you're not going to lose nearly as much time as if you lose 10 snacks and you have to collect 10 slower snacks, and they can stack up heavily. And here we're going to pay our second snack gate of the run, which is a 50 snack gate. And you're going to be like, okay, but when do these like scale up? And they start scaling up now, because the next one we're going to pay is a 500. So here I'm kind of just jumping along this crab and off him, because we can't jump on this tar. But I kind of lied to you, because we're going to jump off the tar right now, hopefully. Okay, we didn't get it, but normally there's a 2-frame window at the beginning of this level where we can actually jump off the tar. So I'm pressing the A button, I'm pressing the B button, I'm pressing the R button. I can't do anything more than just walk on this tar. But there's a 2-frame window, which we time with a metronome, which you heard, which basically just allows us to better time the jump so that we can get it. But now we're just going to collect the springs upgrade, and we're going to get to the back half of this level and collect some snack boxes. And these are actually worth 5, which is why we're prioritizing these more than singular snacks. And we're going to collect these, and then we are going to go on. And now we're going to do what I alluded to at the beginning. We're going to be doing a trick known as Fishy Skip. And so Fishy Skip is a very interesting trick, and you're going to see why right now. You're going to be like, what the heck just happened? So that is what we call a void warp. So essentially how void warps work is that if you clip out of bounds, there's a failsafe in the game that will teleport you back to the intended beginning entrance of a level. Now, what does that mean, intended beginning entrance? So if you noticed, we're in Pier 1 right now. And basically how these work is that we were in Pier 2. So the intended beginning entrance is the beginning of a level. So the level sets are like 1, 2, 3, 4. And so if we are in Pier 2, it's going to warp us to the Pier 2 entrance, which is connected to Pier 1. And since we're going to the intended beginning entrance, that's normally where the last level is, meaning that we just warp all the way to the entrance, and it makes us get across all of that tar that was blocking our way before that we couldn't run on, we couldn't jump on. And basically, we just skipped 25% of the game doing that. Because we skip Fishy, the Fishy Clue levels, which basically, we normally have to go through Fishy and Coast in order to get to the Super Smash, and now we are just in Coast, so we skip all of Fishy. But not only that, they didn't use the tar very much in this game, and so since we didn't use the tar much, we can just skip the Black Knight boss fight, and so now we have skipped all of Manor and the Black Knight boss fight, so we've essentially skipped about 25% of the game. But we're not out of the woods yet, because that's just the first part of Fishy Skip. I'm actually setting up for the second part of Fishy Skip right now. And the way that I'm doing that is that you saw me Death Abuse at kind of like the midpoint of this level when I jutted out into here. That's because these keys move when we die. We don't necessarily know why this happens, but they move. And so because they move in the perfect position where we can collect all of these without the helmet upgrade. Normally we have to have the helmet upgrade in order to get into these boxes, but what we're going to do is that we're just going to hit this fish and hopefully clip into this box here. I might have to reset this up, so I'm going to just go ahead and reset this up right now. This is a very, very precise trick. We need to be at a very precise point on the ground in order to get this trick. But the other three keys, are pretty easy to collect. That one is the finicky one, but luckily we got it. And not too bad of a time lost there. We just only had to do one reset. And now we're just going to make our way into Coast 2. And a cool part that we haven't discussed yet is Scooby's movement. So you're noticing I'm using this charge attack, and you're going to be noticing that I'm sliding around these enemies, and you're like, shouldn't you be getting hit? You're like right next to them. And the answer is no. Because basically when we use our charge attack, we shrink Scooby's hitbox down to his head. And because we shrink it down to his head, as long as we're aiming our head away from enemies, we're not going to get hit by them. Using basically like hitbox manipulation or whatever. I don't know the technical jargon for that. But we're basically just shrinking how he gets hit down to his head. And then we can just get around them. And here, we're going to be setting up for a trick. You see these flying fishes in the air? We're actually going to be using them, and you see those boats in the back. We're actually going to be using a flying fish to get to the back here. And this is, we like to call this Great Dane Jesus, because we're just going to walk on water, and then we're going to get back here. That is because whenever you get hit in this game, you get some iframes after you get hit, so you can't like just infinitely get hit by an enemy. And we can basically use those iframes to walk on water before we drown, because basically we drown. Also, there's an invisible fishnet there, lol. Because we drown if we are not getting hit. So you just saw there. If you saw for a second, there's a another snack gate there. That's the 500 snack gate I was talking about. And you know we don't have 500 snacks right now, but more importantly, past that is where the Super Smash upgrade is. But we can't get to the Super Smash upgrade until we get the helmet. So we were able to get into we were able to get into Coast early and you know get past Coast 1 without the use of the helmet upgrade, but we actually cannot get the Super Smash upgrade until we get the helmet upgrade. So now we are on our way to the helmet upgrade, and because we activated a warp gate, we can essentially warp back to Coast 3 and then pay the snack gate later on in the run. But right now we're going to head our way to the helmet upgrade, and that is our current goal. And basically, I just wanted to talk more about Scooby's charge attack. So you're going to be noticing that I'm only using Scooby's charge attack in certain spots, and that's because at the beginning of Scooby's charge attack, this little playing that drum sound. Basically, at the beginning of Scooby's charge attack, he moves slower, and at the end of his charge attack, he moves faster, right? And so since he moves a lot faster at the end of his charge attack, it's actually slower for us to dash over short distances, like right here, just to get to that box. If I dash there, I'd actually move slower than if I would just R-run. And basically, we only want to use Scooby's charge attack over long distances, which is why you will see me selectively use my charge in certain spots and not in other spots. And typically, if I'm not using a charge in a spot, it's because running is faster because I'm either setting up for a jump or the length is just not long enough to, warrant a whole running animation. But what we're about to do now is we're going to do a trick known as SCS, or Skull Cliff Skip. Now this is known as Skull Cliff Skip because normally we're skipping through the Skull Cliff levels, but we're actually going to go backwards through the Skull Cliff levels because it's actually faster to go through the Skull Cliff levels backwards than it is to go through the Hedge Maze levels forwards, and that is because we just can clip right through this gate. That is SCS, and now we're in Misbehavin', which, if you know this game casually, we're not supposed to be here for a very long time. Normally we're supposed to have both the helmet and the Super Smash before we're in this level, because normally you would be in this level in order to fight Green Ghost. But we're actually not going to be fighting Green Ghost in this run, as I alluded to before. We're skipping that boss, which we'll talk about later, because we have a specific skip for Green Ghost, as well as Redbeard, which we will talk about more later. But essentially, in order to get to the helmet upgrade, it's actually faster to go through the Skull Cliff levels because of one main reason, and that is just because there's less Skull Cliff levels and there is more greenhouse levels. But another thing is this. What we're going to do is that I'm going to jump into this piece of stalactite on the wall, and I'm going to clip out of bounds here. Ideally, this is a very precise trick. There we go. And I'm going to clip out of bounds. And now that I'm out of bounds, I'm actually going to set up for another Void Warp. So we're not just doing one Void Warp in the run, we're doing two. And if you notice, we're in Skull 4, and we want to go to Skull 3. So again, intended beginning entrance, Skull 3. We're going to get out here, do a skid jump, which basically extends the amount of Kaido frames that we have before we can input a jump. And then we're going to warp all the way across Skull 4 to Skull 3. And if you know, Skull 4 is the second longest level in the game. So we just skipped the whole level. That Void Warp alone saves about 1 minute by itself. And then the rest of the Skull Cliff levels, just because they're so short in comparison and we don't have to pay any snack gates. That's a big thing, is that we're skipping about 3 snack gates by doing Skull Cliff backwards, is that we're skipping a ton of snack gates that normally we'd have to pay. And so that's another part of the time save. And so between these levels being shorter and we don't have to pay any snack gates, it equals to about 3 whole minutes of time save rather than going through the levels in the intended order. And so we're going to make a cycle in this level known as a boulder cycle. And so I haven't really talked about cycles that much, but if you notice, I'm moving and dashing in very specific spots in the level, and I'm doing that every single time to make cycles like this, getting past that boulder without getting smashed. And I'm basically hitting cycles in every single level. I'm just not talking about all of them because there's more important stuff. There's more important fish to fry. But here we're going to kind of just jump along this wall, and then we're going to get across here so we don't have to wait for that platform cycle to move backwards. And then we're going to climb up this wall here, and then we're going to make our way into Hill 3, which is where the helmet upgrade is. So we went through Skull Cliff backwards, and now we're in Hill 3, which is coincidentally at the top of this hill is where the helmet upgrade is. And so basically now what we're going to be doing is that we're going to go collect this helmet upgrade, and I want to talk about the next thing that we're going to do, which is pause storage. So beep beep, remember pause storage? Remember that map I mentioned at the beginning of the run? We're actually going to be using that now. It's now going to be coming into play. And basically how pause storage works is that we're going to open up a debug menu, and how we're going to do that is that we're actually going to unplug our controller, and then we're going to hover over Quit Game Yes, and then we're going to press A on Quit Game Yes at the same time as we're going to unplug our controller. Now, if you can imagine, there's a risk of quitting the game, right? But we're not going to do that, don't worry. And basically this just allows us to open a debug menu, which essentially just allows us to warp. So it's going to make this sound. If it makes this sound, this is actually good because that means we've gotten it. I'm going to hold start on my controller, and then it's going to stop the sound, and we're just going to roll up to the map. And now you can see I have 2 menus open, and this essentially just allows us to warp to wherever we want, and we're going to warp back to Coast 3, where we got before. And now that we have our newly acquired helmet upgrade, we're going to pay this 500 snack gate now. and we are going to make our way through. Now, if you thought I was going out of my way and collecting some extra snacks, don't worry, because we have to pay out 850 snack gate right now. So if you notice, we had 1,000 snacks, and now we don't have 1,000 snacks. We have 500, so we need to collect a ton more snacks still in order to pay the final snack gate of the run, which is the 850 snack gate, and basically that one blocks off Mastermind, and so that one's also another unavoidable one that we have to pay. And so essentially we're going to be collecting a lot more snacks before we get there, and we're gonna go acquire the Super Smash upgrade now, which and basically the Super Smash upgrade is inside this light bulb in this room here, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to hit this button, and then we're going to send that to the top. And basically we're just going to collect these snacks on the bottom here, because basically we just have to wait for it to rise all the way to the top. We can't really speed the process up, and so since we can't speed the process up, why not get some snacks for free? You know, we just collect all these snacks on the ground, and then we'll still make it in a timely manner up top before it ideally before the door opens. So we're going to be slightly slower because we didn't get a thing called a frame perfect. And basically a frame perfect is if we hit something with our head or our helmet, we can basically release the B button at the same frame that we hit the thing, and then we can not play the bonking animation, which is where I sat down on the ground. So like that, we can cancel that animation. I unfortunately didn't get one, so I probably won't be able to show you all one this whole run, but we're going to use our newly acquired Super Smash upgrade, and we're going to get into Lighthouse 2. And now, an important thing about the Super Smash upgrade is that it allows us to break open floorboards like you just saw, and we're actually going to use that again to skip another snack gate, the 500 snack gate. So normally in order to get to Creepy, we need to pay a 500 snack gate in order to get into Creepy, but if you know, you can actually get into Creepy using the shortcut in Shock 2. So that's actually where we're going to go now, is that we're going to go into Shock 2, and we're going to go up here. So you can kind of see the snack gate in the back there, but we're just going to skip that snack gate by just simply warping away and going over here and smashing on these floorboards. And so now we're in Creepy 1, and now this is where, you know how I said that we skipped basically 25% of the game a while back, just doing fishy skip? Well, now we're about to skip 50% of the game, and we're going to do it really quickly. So I'm going to start setting up for it now, because essentially we're going to jump off of 4 ledges, and we're going to skip 50% of the game, and it's going to go by really, really quickly. And basically these two tricks are called RBS and GGS, or Redbeard skip and Gringo skip, respectively. And the first one I'm going to do is we're going to do Redbeard skip, which is actually in this room right here, Creepy 2. So Creepy 2, normally you would want to go to Creepy 3, get the plungers, and then go fight Gringos. But we don't need to fight Gringos, and we don't need to fight Redbeard, so we're not going to do that. And basically at the end of this hallway, there's a giant chasm at the top, which normally you need to fight Redbeard. And then Redbeard will give you the gum upgrade, and the gum upgrade will spawn some enemies in order to get to the basement levels to get the soap, and the soap will spawn bats in this chasm. So instead, we're just going to jump off these 2 ledges on the wall here, this ledge here, jump up here, and then we just skipped all of that. We skipped Redbeard, we skipped the basement levels, and now we're going to do GGS, or Gringo skip, and normally you need the umbrella upgrade to float up to the top here. We're going to just jump off this bat, jump off those walls, and then we're going to get all the way to the top without the use of the umbrella, and then we're going to do jump here known as yellow jump. We're going to get up here, and then now we have skipped the Gringos boss fight. In 10 seconds, we skipped 50% of the game. Yeah, we just skipped 50% of the game in 10 seconds. And if you don't know, there's a ton of levels, and there's a 2.5 minute auto-scroller leading up to Gringos. And if you thought we were done skipping, we're not done skipping, because we're going to skip all a lab by doing Lido skip. We're going to jump off some visible ledges on the wall, actually, here. And we're actually jumping along the wall here. And we're basically just going to jump across here. And then we're going to go and pay the 850 snack gate. And if you know, we have 851 snacks. So if you thought we were over-collecting, we were collecting exactly the amount that we need. And now we are fighting Mastermind. And so a lot just happened there. And so basically the TLDR is, normally we need to fight the Gringos upgrade. We need to fight the Gringos to get the umbrella, which will allow us to float up that giant chasm, right? In order to get to the Gringos, we have to go through all the crypt levels, and we have to go through Misbehavin', and just a lot of levels, and a lot of snack gates just to go fight him. But instead, we can just skip that by just jumping off of 2 ledges. And then Redbeard, normally we need the Redbeard, the gum upgrade, and the soap upgrade, and so we're skipping 2 more upgrades like that. And so now we have basically skipped 75% of the game. Also, I just clipped through that door. You saw that correctly. That's another one similar to SCS, where you just hold up left on the D-pad and you just kind of clip through the gate. And then now we're in Mastermind 2, and if you thought Shaggy was in danger of that shark pit, don't worry, he's in the back right here. He's fine. And now we're going to fight Mastermind. So Mastermind, we're just going to clip through that wall there. And then we're going to die to the electricity because I did not check my health because I'm a little dumbo. That's all right. We're just going to spawn back over here, and then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to clip through the wall here by holding up right, and then clipping through, and then we're going to hit this button early. Now, if you notice, we're in the boss fight before we're supposed to. Normally, we have to trigger a cutscene to play, but instead we just hit both of those buttons, and now we have skipped the first phase of the Mastermind boss fight. And if you don't know how the Mastermind boss fight works, there's essentially 3 phases. And each of them have increasingly amounts of enemies, and so we just fought phase 2, and now we're going to do phase 3 skip. And basically what we do to skip phase 3 is that we hit that first button, wait 5 seconds, and then hit the second button, and then we go back to the first button, and then we're going to hit this first button again, and then this tricks the game into thinking that we have fought the third phase of the fight when we haven't, and so now we only fight 1 wave of enemies, the second phase of the enemies, and we have just skipped phase 1 and phase 3. And now Mastermind's going to spawn down on the ground, we're going to hit him with electricity, and then the run's going to end. Just like that. It goes by really quick, I know. And timer's going to stop as soon as he hit the electricity, so right about now. And that is Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, and I'm just going to pause before the cutscene plays. And so just thank you for watching. I know this goes by really quickly. But you know, I think that's kind of acceptable since we're skipping about 75% of the game in about 20 minutes. So yeah, just thank you guys for watching, and thank you for giving me your time and your consideration to accepting this run. And yeah, hope the event goes well, whether I'm in it or not. Peace out.